So why do student osteopaths study research methods? The big question. You may have asked yourself this and thought about other questions. What has it got to do with osteopathy? How will it help us become better practitioners? And why is it relevant at all? Let's look at some of these questions. So you start your journey as student practitioners at the School of Osteopathy. Education is full of processes. These processes can include classes, exams, essays and assignments, group work, practical work, reading, thinking, taking notes, and reflecting, and many more. And these processes all lead towards a goal. Our goal as student osteopaths is to become professional osteopaths and to develop the capacities that we need for this role. Osteopaths in the UK are regulated by the General Osteopathic Council, which requires certain capacities of osteopaths alongside capabilities, abilities, skills, attributes, and attitudes that they think are helpful for professional osteopaths to have in order to provide best care for patients. So let's look at what is a capacity and how do we develop it. A capacity is the ability to do something that can be worked on, developed, and built upon throughout your careers. A capacity requires understanding, knowledge, and depth in both of these of a subject. How do we get there, and where do we start? The General Osteopathic Council provides us with the Osteopathic Practice Standards. These osteopathic practice standards guide UK osteopaths towards best practice. One of the capacities required across the Osteopathic Practice Standards, or the OPS, is critical reflection. Let us look at some examples of this in the OPS. The OPS require us to be up to date with research, with healthcare developments, to develop our professional skills and knowledge. They also require us to have the ability to collect and analyse information about our practice. This includes looking at the latest evidence. The OPS also require osteopaths to communicate with patients in a partnership, to recognise the limits of their professional careers, to know when and how to refer, and to communicate well with other health professionals. So let's take a closer look at critical reflection, what it is, and how we develop it as osteopaths. Studies show that critical reflection is important for reflective practice, encourages self-awareness and professional identity in students, and that it is a process, something we develop gradually. We also know that it helps healthcare practitioners better understand their own practice, their behaviour in this practice, and how that might affect others, patients, and colleagues. We also know that studying, reading, and conducting research helps this process of developing critical reflection and everything that it brings with it. Developing critical reflection might seem a little bit hard. But we know that studying and conducting research methods as students helps us develop this capacity. So what are some of the things that you would do as students in research methods that would help develop this capacity of critical reflection? Simple things such as engaging with and attending research lectures, engaging with research methods assignments, choosing a dissertation title, talking with your supervisor about this, designing a method, comparing your findings with those of others. All of these processes help develop the capacity of critical reflection. Even asking yourself simple questions such as, am I interested in this topic? Is it doable for a dissertation with my time limits and resource limits as a student? Has it been done before? Asking yourself these questions in choosing a dissertation title can help. So we develop this capacity of critical reflection as students and continue to use it throughout our careers. But when might it be useful when we're professional osteopaths? When communicating with other healthcare professionals, writing them letters, talking to them, referring patients to them. It can also help us to make clinical decisions, especially in complex clinical cases. This is used on a daily basis in practice. Something as simple as writing a social media post for your clinical practice. Is it evidence-based? Where did you get the information from? Is it helpful? Does it abide by the advertising standards? Also, reflection for the CPD scheme, which is required of all osteopaths in the UK, is an important process that uses critical reflection. Understanding the latest practice guidelines is another area that you might use critical reflection in, looking at the NICE guidelines. And finally, understanding the latest research findings, knowing what's good research and what isn't such good quality research, and what to take from it. These are all things that critical reflection helps with. In healthcare, in manual therapy, in osteopathy, things are changing all the time. What does best practice look like? Best management for ourselves and for our patients. And we need to keep up with this. Unfortunately, there isn't a daily newspaper that comes out with all the latest research findings, what they mean and what they mean for our clinical practice. This is something that we have to do and keep up with on our own and alongside others. Let us look at the Research Methods course as a journey with a start and a finish. The finish being when you graduate as professional osteopaths and begin your careers. At the beginning of this journey, you may seem a little bit confused, a little bit daunted, not knowing where you're going or how to get there. But by engaging with assignments and lectures along the research methods curriculum, you'll have things to help you along the way. Reading research papers, writing abstracts or an abstract table, responding to a complaint letter from a patient, designing and writing your dissertation, the protocol, the abstract introduction and methods, the results and discussion. All of these things help you develop the capacity of critical reflection, so that when you graduate, you'll have it in your osteopathic toolbox. So what are some of the questions that critical reflection makes us ask ourselves as practitioners? How could I improve? How could I change my practice to make my patients feel more comfortable, to adhere to the latest guidelines and OPS? Am I being biased? What would make me a better practitioner? What informs my practice? Who could I learn from? All of these questions come about from being critically reflective in our practice. So whether you go on to practice in your own clinic, to interact with other healthcare practitioners in your osteopathic career, or teach in an osteopathic educational institution, critical reflection is a capacity that you can have in your osteopathic toolbox to help you along the way. So it seems overall that for osteopaths, critical reflection is pretty important and something that we should develop quite early on. In summary, critical reflection is developed through processes conducted in the research methods curriculum. Also, critical reflection is a capacity that's developed gradually by student osteopaths, and research methods provides processes that help with this. And critical reflection will help you in your osteopathic careers.